no, they talk about grown-up problems. She goes every day so that she stays healthy. You see, well, my mom needs help learning to take better care of herself, so she talks to people with the same problem.
Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Even on Sesame Street, its Muppets are dealing with issues some people deal with in the real world. Sesame Street's nonprofit organization, Sesame Workshop, has tackled difficult conversations in the past, like COVID, grief, and foster care. And now their Muppets are being used to break down opioid addiction. That's what the Muppet was talking about when it talked about its parent for those young minds out there. Joining me to talk about it, Dr. Bernadette Smith is here on The Factor Uncensored. So what are your thoughts about this? And it's always good to try and reach kids. Is this too early? Is this just right? Is this what children of America need?
So when we're dealing with children and our children, you know, I'm a mother as well. And so it's tough because we don't want to prematurely expose our children to things. However, they're already being exposed to them in different ways that we may not know. And I think that what becomes important is recognizing, one, television should be a tool that parents are using with their children. So you can choose to say, yep, let's watch this episode together and process it, or no, we're not going to watch this together. So is it Sesame Street's place? Maybe, maybe not, but what they're doing is creating a mechanism for parents to be able to have those childlike conversations. Because even
so it can force parents so they don't have to watch it and be exposed to it for the first time. On Sesame Street, parents will have that conversation with their children.
Absolutely. I have one of my friends, they'll watch certain movies that come out prior to them allowing their children to watch it. So they can figure out, is this something we want to expose our children to, or is it not? And how do we want to have those conversations? And so when you go to the Sesame Street Workshop website, it has information on there on how to have those conversations with your children. And so, again, my daughter asks me questions all the time that I have to, God, you're 8. Why are you asking me this already? I'm not ready for this.
Uncomfortable questions for parents.
It's very uncomfortable because we want them to be children. And we want them to stay children, but they're also very curious. And they're also being exposed to so many things. And I think as parents, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be the ones that are having those conversations, or do we want them to get that information, those narratives from others? And so it can be very uncomfortable seeing that Sesame Street is opening that door to have that conversation. But when the pieces that I watched, it was very you know, they're speaking to children on a childlike level to where you can go as deep as you need to. Because there are going to be people in their classrooms, in their community, who are struggling with addiction, in their family who are struggling with addiction. And so it might make children who are in that environment feel more comfortable and feel seen as well.
And one of the things you brought up was something that a very responsible parent will do. Monitor what their children will watch in movies, on television, on radio. But are parents still doing that today? A lot of parents, or is it hit or miss?
Let me say this. Being a parent is tough, okay? It's tough. So shout out to everybody who's parenting. Ideally, you're going to want to monitor. There's tons of different parental controls that you can put on to make sure that your child is or is not watching. Ideally, you're going to sit down and watch. And so it depends. There are some parents who don't monitor whatsoever, and then there are others who are hypervigilant. And so
it just depends.
It just depends, but remembering that all of these things, media, social media, music, movies, etc., should be in place so that you as a parent are monitoring that off top. It shouldn't be babysitting your child.
And in the last 10 seconds we have here, should or shouldn't parents allow their children to watch this on Sesame Street? Your opinion?
Honestly, I think it's a case-by-case, house-by-house, you know, answer. If that's what the family feels is important to them, let's do it. If not, then that's okay too. But they're going to have the information.
Dr. Bernadette Smith, thank you for joining us here on The Factor.